What's going on YouTube? Welcome to today's video. As you saw by the title, it's going to be a physique update. Haven't done one of these since the very beginning of this prep, which was actually, looking at my notes, 19 weeks ago. So it's 36 weeks out, plenty of time to diet to get into, well, the final show is 36 weeks from the start. There's actually 4 shows that I'm planning to do within probably like 5-6 weeks from that last show. So what we're going to be doing in this video is I'm going to show you what I'm looking like right now, about 16 and a half weeks out. Also going to be talking about the last time I went up to Lehman College and we did the bodybuilding parameters, health parameters that we're looking at throughout this prep and seeing how those things change. So Amon was busy during that time, so we weren't able to get a full vlog of it. So I'm going to be combining the physique update. We'll talk about that first. Then we'll go into more of the very surprising results of the last check-in at the lab. So first off, I have on one of my screens me doing my poses. So I'm going to start that up right now. Turn my volume off. So yeah, I'm walking back there. But I haven't done any of my posing coaching yet. I should probably start that this week or next week. So again, pretty rookie-like with these poses. Let's see if I can get a side-by-side maybe of previous physique update, but definitely looking a lot leaner. This morning, I was 213 pounds. So 213 pounds, the last time we did these, I was 224.2 pounds at the beginning of the prep. So again, don't be judging my form with these poses, but I'm liking how I'm looking. My waist is a little bit smaller, although it's as small as it will go. I'm actually a pretty blocky waist kind of person, and I haven't mastered these side poses. But in terms of the numbers, so I was 224.2 pounds, beginning of prep, 36 weeks out. We'll talk about where I'm at now. So I'm 213.0 pounds this morning. Waist is at 33 inches. My quads are at 25.25 inches. And definitely they look a lot leaner though. Very happy about that. Arms are at 17.25 inches. Ass is at 41.5 inches. That took a hit. Chest is at 45 inches. So those are my numbers right now. But of course, you don't really know if those are good or not. But give you the context of where those numbers were at previous. Because I'm definitely looking leaner. I feel that I look bigger. Some people see me now are like, hey man, like you're looking a lot bigger. You're looking a lot better. That's the overhead abs right there. But actually I am significantly smaller if we were to be factual with it. So I was 224.2 pounds 19 weeks ago. I was 34.25 inch waist. That's 1.25 inch loss. 26.125 on the quads. So almost an inch loss on the quads. But as you see here, they do look bigger. This is me practicing most muscular poses. I think that's the way that I should do that pose. Probably gonna look at someone who's more of an expert to tell me how to do these things. Arms are down to 17.25. They're down a ½ inch. Again, looking bigger. That's ass, 42.5 to 41.5. Also, you'll see right here looking leaner. You can actually, I'm very happy about this because I'm far away from stage, but you can see there's separation between my glute, hamstrings, the quad. There's a little divot there. Good lighting in this room, I guess. But I was happy about how that pose turned out. Here, NFSW, whatever you say that, I'm having some glute striations, which you can actually see here. I didn't see this on the big screen, so I'm very happy about that. My goal for a while is like, I just want to get striated glutes. I can't consider this fully striated glutes, but there are some like little strings popping here and there. But I think we'll really tie that in once I get true posing coaching and learn how to do this effectively. Because you can be the biggest guy on stage, the most jacked, the leanest person on stage, but you won't win unless you look that way in the way that you pose. So you got to present your physique, and that's kind of the art of bodybuilding, how you present that. That bottom right hamstring vein has been prevalent since the bulk, so that's not a new member here, but it's kind of cool to see. Right here, I'm happy with how my back looks, because usually back has been a weak spot for me, as I've seen. My lats, I don't think are that big, especially compared to my waist, but happy about how this pose turned out. But there's much time to go, and also a 33-inch waist. Hopefully, I can genetically get down to like a 32-inch waist or something along those lines. I didn't finish giving you guys all these numbers though. Chest is also down 3/4 of an inch from 45 3/4 down to 45 inches. So now you're back to looking at me. What's up, guys? I have clothes on again. But yeah, so things aren't going too bad, but you can see factually, objectively, if we look at these numbers, Kevin, you got smaller. Yes, facts. Facts are facts. I did get smaller and that all my inches went down, but also the good news is a lot of that decrease in inches is from body fat being lost. And also objective, this is more of a subjective, I guess. Looking at me, I do look leaner. I look leaner, but I do look bigger because you can see that separation of the muscle. Typically, a lot of people going from their bulks to their cutting phase, they look bigger during their cutting phase because you see the difference, separation in the muscles, as opposed to just being a big sausage with no crevices, no tone. So that's why I'm looking bigger now, and I'm interested to see this for this whole bodybuilding prep. I feel my hypothesis is when you're bulked and you have a little bit more thickness, a little bit more body fat, you look bigger and bigger and bigger, or I guess you look bigger and bigger and bigger as you get leaner, but there's a breaking point. Eventually you get to that level of leanness where in person you start kind of looking smaller, more gaunt, you're not really as full, and then that's kind of when in person you don't look as good, but on the stage, of course with natural bodybuilding, that's where you want to look your best. So I'm interested to see where that breaking point is, but right now we're at 213. We're thinking the farthest we're going to have to dig, likely going to be in the 195 pound range. So still another near 20 pounds to go. Very excited though. And really excited with how things are moving, especially haven't seen that kind of separation in my glutes and hamstrings ever before. So very, very cool. But of course I'm not always looking there. But yeah, we're down about a little over 10 pounds in the first 19 weeks, but we're kicking things up a notch. Should be able to really see some pretty consistent weight loss from 213 down to 205, 200. And then we'll be seeing where things are going from there. Happy about that. Of course, it was a pretty slow cut. If I were to do another contest prep again, I may just go pretty aggressively, drop the first probably 10 pounds, maybe do that in 5 to 8 weeks. But we've really, really taken our time trying to preserve muscle mass by taking 19 weeks to do that. At this level of body fat, I don't really think we need to take that slow of an approach, but I'm going to be a good client. If you guys have a coach, be a good client. Do as your coach says because they may have another game plan for you, or they may be the expert in this area. This is my first contest prep, so I'm learning from the best. Shout out to Cliff. So that's the things I want to go on. Another thing that's playing, I guess, against me in a way is I'm more, and also this can give a little more context to these numbers. So we saw my inches went down. Of course, body fat did go down. Maybe a little bit of muscle loss as well. Happens when you're dieting, but I don't think to this level of leanness it should be too much with the muscle loss. But I do want to say I'm probably also less full of glycogen, so my muscles probably are less popping and stuff like that. I'm at 190 grams of carbs, down from the 400 we started with daily with a 500 carb refeed. So I think with these refeed days, I'm really probably gaining a little bit more size, but probably in the weekly span, depleting glycogen. So maybe that could also contribute to the muscle bellies having less fluid in them as well. Because glycogen, when it is wherever it is, it holds 3 times as much its weight in water. So that can add some size to your muscles when you're fully carbed up, fully hydrated, plenty of sodium. So that's why we're gonna have a pretty good loading phase into these shows. And I'm excited to see that difference. And we're also trying to get that shown within this lab research, which that's the perfect segue into the lab research. It was a tough day. July 3rd was the last time we went in for the lab stuff to see how's progress going. It was tough because the numbers were not too good, not great. And this is also where just being objective is important. And I guess the numbers are going to be as they are, but they're facts. I can't dispute them, or at least as close to facts as they can be with the tools that we have available to us. So what I want to say is I was up in body fat percentage from 7.6% the previous month up to 8.2%. Gained 0.6% body fat in a month during a contest prep. Interesting. But this was earlier in the month. I was not looking the same I am today. So I think I had a little bit better training and more fat loss since then. In terms of my blood pressure, I'm down to 112/58, so that's getting pretty low. Even though my body fat was up, it was at 116/70 previous. Very interesting data was my heart rate was 48, which is elite athlete. I don't think I've had heart rate sub 50 before. So at 48 last time, 107.6%. So a month previous, and then it was 56 consistently this last time. very just interesting that as the numbers are. I don't think I was more or less nervous that time. Maybe I could have been like, damn, actually that's one of the first like tests we do. So I don't really have too much rationalizing, but interesting to see my my heart rate was 8 points different. Probably one of the most interesting things, second most, because my body fat, that's really what. My resting heart rate. So when I get the gas mask, it's a pretty accurate way to show how much like oxygen I'm using, stuff like that. And then it tells you a pretty accurate reading of how much energy you're taking up. So my resting BMR, I believe, it was 2,229 the month prior. So that was the June measurement, and it was 2,124 this month, July 3rd. So that was a loss of 105 calories of me just sitting around day to day, of 100 calories less burning. Interesting, these numbers, they are what they are. I guess I'll give the context to it now. That's just the facts. So that's what everything showed. Up 0.6% body fat. My resting metabolic rate was down 100 calories. So some things that make me hypothesize maybe why, because we get the data and then we gotta try to conceptualize, rationalize, and then that's how we learn. So my hypothesis, or things that were also playing a factor into these readings, one, I took a diet break in the middle of the month. Weight loss was going pretty good. We took a diet break, put calories up. It was actually like 400, 500 calories per day back up. So put on a little bit of weight. We would think a lot of it would be that glycogen and stuff, but a little bit of body fat, I'm assuming, came with that because it was a pretty relatively aggressive diet break, in my opinion. But all part of the plan because we're so far out. You don't want to get too lean too far out. So that was one thing. Second thing is I did take a deload in between the 4 weeks between the tests. So maybe deload, going to have like less fluid, less chronic inflammation in the muscles. So maybe that would play into a lower lean body mass rating, which would mean my body fat would be coming up, because if you have a weight and it's not coming up as lean body mass, it's going to be put into one of the other compartments. So it came up probably as body fat. That's a possibility. That could have influenced the numbers a little bit because maybe they were less chronically inflamed, less fluid in the muscles. So maybe it said, oh, you got a little bit more fat. So those were two things. Third thing is my training wasn't as great because I did have a wrist injury. So I was training around that. I don't think I was going as intense, maybe cut back the volume in other areas. But those are the main three things which could have influenced the numbers to being what they were. So we know where the numbers are, and then it's maybe, was it that the deload influenced my like muscles being inflamed enough to have the body fat go up because the lean body mass measurement was lower because less fluid in the muscles? Was it that? Was it the deload maybe caused it the worse training with the wrist? Was my body fat actually that elevated from the diet break? So a couple questions that would arise from this, because it's very interesting going up during a contest prep, 0.6% body fat. But again, I think really that diet break does play a factor in it. But we're past that. Back down to 213. So I think before the diet break, we hit a couple like 213s. Then we were around like 215, 216 sometimes. Also more volume of food in my stomach. And then it was working back down, finally back down to 213. And this is, I think, July 23rd or something. So things are moving good. And also I'm interested with that, the RMR maybe is that less training volume. So maybe my body is less fatigued or less not recovering as much. So maybe my resting energy expenditure was low because of that. It's probably an athlete running. If they're recovering the day, even though they're not doing anything, and maybe someone who's more sedentary, if they're both not doing anything, I think because the one person's in a recovery process, they may have more energy usage at that resting period. So those are a couple of my ideas behind this. You guys can derive your own conclusions based on this data, but I think it's very, very interesting. And we're going to be doing our next read up. No diet breaks. My training is pretty good. My wrist is feeling pretty good. And we're going to see if where things are now. So very interesting. You guys saw what I'm looking like now. You saw the 213 physique. You know all my body fat percentage, my RMR. So I hope this gives you some context to, I guess, how this bodybuilding prep goes. Also, I guess for me, just seeing these numbers and being like, damn, we put on some body fat, but I think in the whole trajectory of everything, we're still going to get to a good spot. Going to look my best for these shows. There's still a lot of prepping to go. Another 16 and a half weeks. So I hope that gives you guys some insight to how things are going. That's pretty much all I wanted to say for today. It has started to get a little bit more of a challenge, getting my macros dropped to 190 carbs, but we still got 16 weeks, so it's probably going to get even deeper of a dig, which I'm very, very excited for. I'm excited for the challenge because it should be a good time. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and keep it flexible. I'll see you in the next one.